Missy, what was the takeaways of this past weekend? Clearly the offense struggled quite a bit. You had one of the better pitchers in the country in Barnhill, but against the rest, those were certainly some hittable pitchers that you guys struggled with a little bit.
We did struggle a little bit this weekend with offense. I think what I take away is just us getting the opportunity to face pitchers like Barnhill and take some learning points with it into this weekend and into the rest of the year. So it was a tough weekend for us. I would have liked to see us come out a little bit on the stronger side of that, but I do take away that this team walked away with a lot of information and how to adjust and to be better, to learn from what happened with us this weekend and then move forward.
Martin is a far more hittable pitcher, as you know from years ago with Oklahoma there. That was on a per-inning basis. That was one of her stronger strikeout per-inning situations. Was that just the juxtaposition of you guys going from a rise ball pitcher to a drop ball pitcher, or was she just that effective, or why was it?
She threw well that game. I totally credit Martin. I've gone against her for a long time now, and she's a veteran pitcher. She did a really good job of throwing a drop ball for a strike and then throwing it for a chase. And we had a hard time getting on plane with her, and would either swing and miss or give her those ground balls that she was looking for. So again, I think to see somebody like her that has, even though with her maybe that was the main pitch she threw, she did a really good job with it, and we struggled with it.
Big moment coming up for your freshmen, and obviously you're playing a lot and leaning heavy on this class, but they're about to make their Jane Sanders debut. Kind of, can you speak to what they've meant to you so far, and kind of how they've progressed for these first few weeks?
I can't say enough about them as freshmen. I mean, the learning curve for the younger athletes has been pretty fast and furious for them, and I think they've handled it well. If you look at the last 4 weeks, we leave on a Wednesday, we play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We come back, we get a day off on Monday, we practice on a Tuesday, and we leave. And I think really for us, what I saw from maybe this past weekend was just the fact that we need to practice, that all we've been really able to do is prepare versus actually sit down and get some quality practices in. So I almost wish if I could go back that we would able to get a couple more practices in and then go into the Fullerton tournament. And I think we might have seen things a little different. I know I think when we've had some struggles, I think it's just been these guys pressing a little bit. But with age and with experience, you know, that will come. But I think the freshmen, for obviously being the youngest ones on this team, I think they've handled things really, really well.
So have you been able to kind of take a breath at all this week?
It's been nice. I wish the rain would go away. But it has been nice to have consecutive days of practice versus preparing. I mean, obviously we're preparing for Oklahoma State, but to actually have practice has gone a long way for us. So I know myself, my staff, this team, everybody is really excited and prepared going into this weekend.
Particularly as young as you are on the infield. Are you surprised at all with how well you've been defensively?
No. No, because, you know, they're athletic. I knew coming into this that we were going to be really good in the infield. And you know, there's concerns out there with how young they are, but I've dealt with other infield in the past in my coaching career that have been just as young as them, and I embrace it. You know, we're gonna take, you know, have some bumps here and there, but I think they've really handled things well.
When you look at some of your issues defensively, some of your impatience offensively, and even from the circle with a little bit of the command issues you've had, do you feel like that's something that just playing at home, having that fan support this weekend can kind of fix in some ways?
I think anytime we get a chance to play at the Jane, I know our team loves it. Just the fall games that we got to play this past fall, they enjoyed every bit of it. I did too. I think there's something to be said about being at home and playing in front of your fans, and the pride factor that sets in. And, you know, the older ones, all they've been talking about to the younger ones is how awesome it is to play at home. How awesome. And I think one thing I think you're going to see a team that's gotten some practice in, that's gotten to rest a little bit, that's gotten to sleep in their own beds, and are going to look a little different this weekend.
What should we know about Oklahoma State? Obviously, you've seen them a lot.
Yeah.
They've been in some tournaments. You guys have been in already this preseason. They beat some Pac-12 teams. What should we know about them? And is it kind of a funny coincidence that this is your first home series against them?
Oklahoma State, right? You know what? I've obviously been, around that program for a long time. I think Kenny's done an excellent job with them. I think they have a little bit of everything. They've got power, they've got good pitching, they can small game. I think you'll see a little bit of everything. I think they're a veteran team, so they've been there, done that, and they know how to. Anytime I've played against Oklahoma State, the series have always been exciting, so I wouldn't expect anything less.
Against some of the better pitching they faced, they seem like some free swingers. There's some pretty high strikeout numbers in there against Arizona, ASU, LSU, Kentucky. Is that somewhat encouraging when, certainly Jordan likes to strike out a lot of people? Is that something you can look to?
What I've been excited about with Jordan is just her ability to manage her counts much better. So I think of early in the season, she would get a strikeout and then maybe walk somebody, get a strikeout. Where I think now you're starting to see her manage her counts a lot more, really work at going right at the hitter and getting the outcomes that she wants. So if it's via the strikeout, we'll take it. If it's feeding our defense a ground ball, we'll take that as well. But I really like how her management of her counts.
Earlier in the week, you got that gift from
Yes.
your girls. What did that kind of mean just after, the way the past 10 months have been, starting the season right before the first home series, getting a gift like that from these girls?
I was totally caught off guard. I was not expecting that at all, but you know what? That was pretty special. Obviously, your first game of the year, and you want to get that win. You want to get all of us together. I think just really wanted to get that win, and then we played that game, and then it was just kind of on to the next. And so, for them to give me that ball yesterday was very, very special. You could see this team, and with the adversity and everything we've dealt with, you can see just how we've really come together and bonded, and just all of us together have a really special relationship and want the best for each other. I want to see these guys just do great things on the field, do great things in the classroom. I mean, I really care about them, and just to see them think about doing something like that, I don't know, kind of touched my heart. It was nice.
You've stuck with Shay at catcher for several games in a row now. Is she full-time? Is that what it's going to be? Or?
Yeah, Shay's been doing an excellent job. I've been impressed with Shay and the runners that she's been throwing out and runners that she's been picking off, and everybody continues to want to run on her, and I just love how she's been handling it. I think she's been doing a great job with her leadership role back there. If I were to put somebody else back there, whether it be April, she would do great as well. So I don't think you'll see Shay the whole way. I think you'll see April in there as well, and Shay moving in other positions. But up to this point and what she's been doing, she's been great.
You've been tinkering with the batting order a little bit at the top, and now this past weekend you stuck with Haley across. A little bit frustrating in that she leads you with on base, but at the same time it's a lot of walks. You're trying to get her opportunities, but it's just some weird splits. Like when runners on, she might not be as strong, which is kind of weird. But at the same time, you want to try to get her opportunities. Do you think about dropping her to the 2 spot maybe to protect her a little bit better? Or?
Yeah, we've been tinkering with the lineup, and I still think we're still trying to figure out exactly what that is, whether if it's her in the 1 or dropping her down a little bit to give her opportunity to drive runners in. And that's what's been nice about practice, is getting those opportunities. But I think you'll still see us tinker with it until we figure out exactly what it is and the order that works best.
Is there a philosophy you have to putting a lineup together that's any different than anybody else?
I mean, I think it's pretty typical. Your leadoff, you want that on-base percentage. You want to get him in. But then if you think about it, in the game, that leadoff, she's the leadoff one time. So then you want to also make sure that when we're getting runners in, that we have people there to drive them in. So I think it's just trying to figure out what's the best from top to bottom, and who's getting on, who's got the ability to drive them in. I think especially last week, and we were pressing a little bit. So
is that just fatigue? So what you're talking about with the travel schedule and everything?
It could be a little bit, and sometimes when you try too hard, it actually doesn't really go your way. So I think we just needed to get home, and I think you'll see these guys a little bit more patient this weekend at the plate, just energized, and I think you'll see them different. I think you'll see them like what you saw at Arizona State, because we definitely have that ability for sure.
Anything in practice that you said, okay, now that I've got a couple of days, I really have wanted time to address X, Y, or Z?
Just I would say just making sure our swings are the way they need to be defensively, making sure our footwork's fast and good, and then from there, obviously going after our plans for this weekend. But what's
No
nice is to have
glaring holes or anything like that, though.
yeah, no, I feel really good about this group. I think we just needed to get home and just get a couple days in more than anything, and we've definitely got that opportunity this week. It'd be nice to be outside and doing it, but to get those consecutive days have gone a long way for us.